You shouldn't have been talking shit.
They came in here. Fred Butts here got a question here that's very interesting. Do y'all think we spend big in free agency?
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, for our own team. Like, it's gonna start with our own team. They've said that already. Like, we got guys that need to be paid. Like, you got AJ, you got Chris Lindstrom just made the Pro Bowl. Like, you're gonna have to pay your guys that's in house first. So, what I'm interested to see is what guys they bring back because we know Lindstrom, McGarry, both of those guys played well. We didn't sign the 5th-year option for McGarry. So I'm interested to see what they do there. We know AJ gonna get the bag. We know Chris Lindstrom gonna get the bag. So those two guys, like I feel like they're going to get re-signed. Period. It ain't no questions. Like I said, you're gonna have guys that's coming up, and that's another reason why I'm like on the Lamar Jackson thing. I don't see it happening because you still got to pay your guys, and then you still got to pay your draft class. Like, I don't know if they're going to trade down. So if you take that top 10 pick, if it ends up being a top 10 pick, that's money as well that people forget about, that you still got to pay your draft class. So I really don't think they spend big. Do I think we could see them make like one splash signing, hopefully an edge rusher or like a veteran defensive lineman or a difference maker on the defense? I could see that. But I really think they're going to start in-house. And you heard when we had Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot last year, like during the offseason, they talked about it in their press conference that we want to reward our players first. If you ball out, we're going to reward you. Let's be real. If we had the money, chances are we wouldn't have let Foyer walk in free agency because they wanted to re-sign him, but we didn't have the money to do it. That's what it really came down to. So I think that we're going to spend big, but it'll be the guys like Lindstrom and AJ that's going to get big contracts. Outside of those guys, you may bring in one veteran guy, maybe one veteran splash signing. It just depends on how much money they're looking for. But for all of those people that want Lamar Jackson, this is why we say don't bring Lamar Jackson here. We love Mike Vick. The reason I'm a Falcons fan is because of Mike Vick. He was an electrifying player from the same area I grew up in Virginia. But if you go out and make that deal, he's going to eat up so much of your salary cap, that you're not going to be able to go out and sign, the guys that we're talking about. So, if you want to be able to go out and make some splash signings and bring in a couple guys, you can't go in and, bring in a Lamar Jackson, get him $300 million or whatever he asking for and be able to, still retain the guys that you want to retain and also bring in other guys. So I think our best bet is just to stick with Desmond Ridder for now because he's on a rookie deal, which a lot of the teams that have won in the past, that's the way you want to go about doing it, is bringing in. You've seen Russell Wilson on his rookie contract with the Legion of Boom. They was able to pay all of those guys on the defense, build a defense around him, and then they were able to win a championship. But once Seattle paid Russell, they couldn't afford to keep the Legion of Boom together and all of those guys. So, I think people don't think about that, but this is a hard cap league. So we've told you guys before, everybody got the same amount of money. This ain't the 90s where you can just pay everybody. And, if your pockets is deep, it's not based upon how much money the owner makes and how much money he has. Everybody got the same amount of money, and you got to balance out the books. So there's going to be some hard decisions that got to be made. Y'all were talking about it the other night. I'm interested to see what happens to Caleb McGarry. I know for a fact that Chris Lindstrom getting signed. I know for a fact AJ getting signed. But I can't speak for Lindstrom. I can't speak for these other guys. And then we also have to keep in mind, eventually Kyle Pitts is going to need to be paid. Eventually Drake London is going to need to be paid. Like, yeah, these guys are a little bit further down the road. But normally if you're balling like a Kyle Pitts, you don't like to let your rookie guys that are on the rookie pay scale, you don't want them to get to that last year they deal when you get into a bidding war. So usually you see those guys get signed a little bit earlier, maybe the 3rd year instead of that 4th year or that 5th year option. Usually you try to pay those guys a little bit earlier. So you also have to balance that in your book, in your checkbook as well. So yeah, I don't think the Falcons going to make any huge signing, maybe one splash signing. Mainly, they're looking at our players. Who can we retain that already know this scheme? Because I told you guys before, we've seen it. When you go out there and you go for the unknown, you don't know how they're going to play for us. They might be balling in the scheme that they're in, but you try to plug them into your system, they may not flourish the way that you thought they would. Where you seeing these guys like AJ in practice every day, you know what he's going to give you. You know what he gave you for the last 2 years in this scheme. You know what Chris Lindstrom's going to give you. You know what McGarry's going to give you. When you go start talking about free agency in the draft, that's when you're entering into the unknown, where it's like, okay, boom or bust. So that's sometimes that could be dangerous.